English garden. Bring the world to you all. Connectors. We use linking words to join ideas together when we're talking or writing. Sometimes we want to link two ideas that are different from each other, or we want to link one idea to another one which is surprising or unexpected. In this video, we are going to teach you some common connectors. Although, despite, in spite of, however, nevertheless. Besides, we are going to explain the differences among them and how to use them properly. For your better understanding, we are going to separate them into two groups. The first group is although, despite, in spite of. The second group is however, nevertheless. Group 1. Although, despite, in spite of. Although, despite, and in spite of mean in spite of something. They are subordinating conjunctions. This means that the clause which they introduce is a subordinate clause which needs a main clause to make it completed. Usage. We use although, despite, in spite of to show contrast between two actions, two pieces of information, in the same sentence. We use although before a clause and despite, in spite of before a noun or noun phrase. Formula. Although plus clause 1, clause 2. For example, although the home team lost, Tam played pretty well. Although it was rainy, Tung Duong and Ken went for a walk. Although Linden studied hard, she failed the final exam. Note: though is more common than although in general, and it is much more common than although in speaking. For emphasis, we often use eventhough. When the eventhough, although clause comes before the main clause, we usually put a comma at the end of the clause. When the main clause comes first, we don't need to use a comma. For example, although they were rich, they lived simply. They lived simply although they were rich. Formula. Despite, in spite of, plus noun. Noun phrase. Gerund phrase. For example, in spite of the rain, Dai went out. Despite her illness, Ha wanted to go to school. Despite being ill, Ha wanted to go to school. Group 2. However, nevertheless. We use however and nevertheless to show contrast between two sentences. We often use commas after them. We can use either of the adverbs, however, or nevertheless to indicate that the second point we wish to make contrasts with the first point. Formula. Clause 1. However or nevertheless. Clause 2. For examples, Thailand is not my best student. Nevertheless, she tries very hard. My house is old. However, the furniture in it is new.